BI or Die, the podcast by Reporting Impulse about analytics, dashboards, and business intelligence.
Hello everybody to another episode of our podcast BI or Die. Today with me, Kai Stahl from Reporting Impulse, and again with my fantastic co-host Viktoria Hell. Hello Viktoria.
Hello, Kai.
Fantastic. But there's one more thing today. Maybe I like to have this famous introduction because we have a designer with us today. We like to warmly welcome Nico Licht, Head of Design, SAP HANA and Analytics. So fantastic that you're here. Hello, Nico.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you today.
So how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, for sure. Like difficult times right now in Germany with COVID, but I'm good. My family is healthy, so all okay here.
So no more wishes somehow in that place. I just read yesterday in LinkedIn that you studied 4 years in Stuttgart. That's my living place and also the location of Reporting Impulse. So what are your experiences with Stuttgart, or what are these connections about?
First question, already a difficult one. So
it's not a really question. I mean, it's just a starting point.
No, I like the worker spirit we see in Stuttgart, and I met great people when I studied in Stuttgart. But I must also admit, I spent quite a lot of time during my studies in other cities. I spent it in Berlin, in England, and in Toronto, in Canada. So I limited also my presence in Stuttgart to also experience something left and right. But great people I met during my studies, and the work ethics is something I really can recommend to everyone who doesn't know about Stuttgart.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a case. We're doing it and we're bringing it down to the streets somehow. I think this is definitely the mentality stuff here in Stuttgart. But probably that's the whole Swabian area is probably famous for that. But yeah, if you compare Stuttgart to Toronto, that's a tough thing, probably. Clear who's the loser in here. Yeah, and any chance to listen to any of our podcast episodes before? I mean, Mo connected us. He was also guest in a chat with Andreas. Any chances to listen to our podcast before?
Yeah, I just
kind of a preparation you made.
Yeah, I just listened briefly to the session with Mo. And I also listened to a conversation that Anna and Andreas had about the podcast heroes that I liked a lot. And I guess we will get to that in this interview at some point in time, because there are many correlations between what you guys are doing with the dashboard heroes and what we do in our design team. So I like these hands-on design thinking workshops that you do with customers. That's a great initiative. Plus, I would love to see Anna's super ugly dashboard that was hard for her to build.
Yeah, I will definitely ask her. And maybe we have the episode of Dashboard Heroes next year as well, or in 2021, each month. Maybe one of your employees is attending this session as well and can give some insights, because at the moment Oliver is collecting many external speakers more or less. So maybe some of your employees could be also interested in taking part of one of those monthly sessions. That will be very cool. I don't know if you're interested, but yeah.
Let's see.
Cool.
I also listened to some of your interviews, and I really liked something you said. I liked your "How are you" meetings, the COVID-19 meetings, and you mentioned that it's important that that even in virtual meetings that you talk a little bit about private things. We already started with that, but we thought about even learning more about the private, Nico. So we prepared 10 short questions, and you just answer quick, short, and spontaneously. Okay, let's start with the 10 questions. It's cat or dog?
Dog.
E-learning or on-site training?
Super difficult. Before COVID, I would have said on-site training. Now, I must say, could also be done virtually.
Book or ebook?
Book.
Okay. Standard reporting or self-service?
Wow, that's a super tough one. Yeah. So I slightly tend towards standard reporting, because as a designer, you are all about also a bit about rules and standards that help you to scale.
Okay. Xing or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Sparkling or tapped water?
Tapped water.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel today?
Oh, I would say a good 8.
Good. It's better than I said last time. What is the most stupid thing you bought?
I bought. Like tough question. I look around and let me, I order quite frequently on Amazon as well, and probably some book that I bought, which is probably a very good book, but then it ended up in the shelf for 1 or 2 years, and I could have waited 2 years.
Did you listen to my podcast? Wasn't the answer I said last time? It was exactly the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Funny. Okay, which day would you like to experience again?
Oh, which day? Let me say I'm a big fan of road biking because that helps also to get outside. And since COVID and staying at home, living in beautiful Heidelberg, close to the Königstuhl, there is also a hill we have just in front of our door where I can, even in the lunch break, go up and down with my road bike. And a day I liked very much when I went on my road bike from Heidelberg to Brauneberg, which is my original town at the Mittelmosel. That was about 200 kilometers a day, and that was just beautiful. That was by far the longest ride I ever did, and I did it last summer.
Impressive, 200 kilometers. Really good. I think 70.
That's close.
Okay, so last question. If possible, and only for 1 week, I would swap life with...
I would say... I would say the Dalai Lama. He once said, "I don't get angry because it's simply too it costs too much energy to calm down again." And that is some words. I don't know how he does that, but that would be so cool if I could learn that and keep it to the life that I have now. Because anger management is something you definitely need to work with especially when you work as a designer, being an advocate for the users. And you can imagine, because if you ask me, our products should not have a single feature, or only one feature, and then build it very beautifully that one feature is perfect. But obviously that is not what most of my colleagues are after.
Yeah, for us, it's only pretty much the same. I mean, we asked those 10 questions, but in fact, we only wanted to know one question. That's like the who you recommend. And this is the first one, cat or dog. We're always challenging us concerning this question. She just answered is with cats. And I was, oh no, I'm not willing to continue with this podcast, because how can you decide cat and dog and really vote for a cat? That's so I'm so lucky. I'm so happy that you vote for dog. So 2-1 then, Viktoria would say.
2-1. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, fantastic that you shared all these personal insights with us. But we also prepared 5 serious questions, and they will be probably and hopefully even more insightful with that, because it's not only the person Nico, but also the position Nico, more or less, so that you're working for SAP, and we definitely would like to get insights into that as well. So number one, many people in the controlling and business intelligence environment probably heard of the term IBCS, Hichert, success rule, however you like to name it. There are many words. I just agreed with Jürgen Feist that he will also join a podcast session with us in a couple of weeks. So that's also quite cool. But what convinced you from the vendor's perspective to integrate this conceptual idea of IBCS in SAP Analytics Cloud?
Yeah, so we have been certified with IBCS for the second time this year, and we are very proud of that, because we believe in conceptual rules like the MISI principle. We also believe in perceptual rules like data ink ratio or life factor. And as a UX designer, I certainly in agreement with Jürgen and with Rolf also about their rare use of colors. So that is something we see often when we look at dashboards, too colorful and color have no real meaning. So have it all black and then focus only on the commons, how they suggest in blue, and have like red or green when you want to highlight a change. So that is something I personally as a designer appreciate about the IBCS standard.
So more or less, there's a simplicity behind the idea.
Yeah, and I can also maybe say what we struggled with in terms of IBCS, because IBCS is made for print. And I give an example: the digital boardroom. That is a huge project we worked on in the team a couple of years ago. And if you diving into this situation, you imagine you are sitting in a boardroom. You are both board members, and a sales rep is presenting, or a sales leader of an area is presenting, of a region is presenting in front of you. And then you say, just stop a second. You intervene his presentation. You ask him to drill down, for example, on a certain region. And when you do that, the change of the concept of the initial dashboard changes. So the dashboard is no longer a report conveying a message, but it's also an exploration vehicle. And that is maybe a good example what is difficult if you get away from He-shirt, which I said it before in the question you asked me. I like that. I like this very rigid form of doing things that you can do for a report. But when you work with interactive media, it gets a bit more difficult.
Yeah, definitely. That's only the experience we met with our customers. I mean, so many people say, okay, He-shirt, the idea, or IBCS, that's so perfect. And now they have somehow a vehicle with SAP Analytics Cloud to actually implement that. Because beforehand, it was more or less Excel based, or you have to integrate it, additional add-ons or stuff like that. But when I probably will ask Jürgen in that direction as well, is there something more he could achieve than being integrated in such a well-known and influential software like SAP? I mean, that's probably the main end, I would say. There's nothing more. So really congratulations that this idea convinced you to integrate. And that's really, really a cool aspect, I think. But the interaction point, I mean, this is what I think is really also, the best thing of using business intelligence or analytics in a proper way. And combining that with this visual attractiveness or simplicity of IBCS, that's very, very cool.
I really like that, because now people have the possibility to use it really, because it was a change from Excel to interactive tools. And in the beginning, when I started, you had no tools that could use that. And I think it's a good thing that you start, or have the possibility as a user to get tools to use it and use it in your daily life, and not just on paper. So great achievement.
Yeah, and we are very, very proud. I believe it is a quote that you can ask Jürgen. They put on the website by Rolf. He said he was very impressed when I believe I was in that meeting with him when we did it the first time, not for the second time, the certification. He was very impressed when he saw how easy it is to create these things. And that is something, now we are back with usability. That is very, very important for us, that we make it easy to create these dashboards. And he liked that very much.
I mean, the IBCS framework is more or less open now also to other colors, to corporate colors and stuff like that, because we often discuss that with our customers. And is it really visually appealing to have this black funeral colors, more or less? What would you say from your designer perspective? Is that black also from your perspective visually attractive? Would you like to reopen such a report again, or is it just don't have these eyes of a designer? That's why I'm struggling with that.
Yeah, so that is a difficult question for me to answer, but if I'm truthful to the answer. So have your company logo with it. Maybe you think of a key visual, but I would say stick to black. If you are lucky and you are a company that has a dark bluish logo, then for sure it makes sense to instead of black using dark blue then. But if you have a red logo, then you will run into issues, because all bars are red and positive and negative. So if it's possible, leave it with black would be my recommendation. If your main key color is not a dark one or a light one, we can also invert it. If you think of a boardroom or digital design, then a black is usually what we see as designers from the additive mixture of colors that is black. If you mix, in Germany we say cyan, magenta and yellow, you get black. And on the screen it's vice versa. So if you add all the colors, you get white. So that is something we also experimented with when working on digital boardroom, that it could be white instead of black. So white on black on a screen and black on white on a paper.
Oh yeah, that's good. We also experienced that many also think of using the black background at the moment. also having a little more design view. Maybe they experience that at Porsche, for example. I can remember of a project that they're using black backgrounds. This was also for me the fact that I changed that on my computer, that everything is in the dark mode now. So now I'm experiencing also that. Okay, cool. Yeah, fantastic.
Now we're talking about IBCS, but when I remember my first time with SAP, well, it was more like FICO. And if you ask me what I was thinking there of a design as SAP, I just say you made a long way. How did you do that? So what is your recipe of success there?
Yeah, maybe I start then at the bottom. So I also, when I finished my studies, I was thinking which company I should go, and I learned that SAP is a good employer, so they had good marks. I didn't know too much about SAP, and then I joined the company just for a couple of months as a temporary worker. But I liked it so much because I could change so many things based on my studies, audiovisual media, and also working for advertising, like starting with media production from print to web design. And that helped a lot. And so I figured it makes more sense as a designer to work in a company where you can really change something than, I don't know, applying for Google or Apple where it's already set and there's not much you can do there. And we are organized in our design organization, HANA Analytics Design, around our flagship products, the cloud flagship products, SAC, DWC, HANA Cloud. And we have 4 disciplines: user experience design, user assistance design, that was formerly called also doku development, design services, which is very close to many things that you do also, working with design thinking, user research, and also working with customers. And onboarding, which is part of doku development as well, of user assistance with tutorials and things like that. And that is how we run in a nutshell.
Great.
Any favorite discipline you have, or what do you think is the most influential really in getting more insights or really providing added value to your customers?
I must say, if you are early in the life cycle, then digital product design is super important. You have to get a product out of the door, so you cannot spend too much time in the field. For sure, you have to understand the market, but then you have to put a product in the market. So you have to have good people working on information architecture and at the first designs. Later on, it slides towards service design, I would say. And okay. I would almost say, in a way, all design is service design, because usually as a designer, you are not, if you don't have the luxury that you are sponsor, sales rep, designer, developer, all in one person, that you are a one-man band, then you have to work with many other people. And in order to work with many other people, I believe that the most important thing designers can bring to the table is facilitating workshops, like advocating the user's view, working with design thinking techniques, working with user journeys, personas, and all of that. And that is in general something that is very, very important, also in terms of change management in many companies.
Okay, and I mean, if I think about design in the first respect, and even if I read your the job title, head of design, I was thinking, okay, is that really part of the DNR at Apple? Okay, not at Apple, at SAP, because I rather think of Apple or Porsche or BMW or something like that. Is there a clear difference in really providing or building, designing software in comparison to a product? Is there really a dramatic change, or can you work that out?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do since years to explain to many people that there is not so much change. Because in the past it was more, probably we underestimated the power that we have when working with designers, or the designer's mindset. So I would say it changed a lot in the past decade, I would say. So digital product design became more and more important, and for me it is very similar to product design disciplines you see left and right. And I would say it gets closer to other design disciplines we know from the past. You were mentioning the automotive industry there. And as I said before, it is the tools and processes that are important. Designers work with, we said it before, like design thinking, methodology, and how you tackle the problem, how you own the problem space before you jump to a solution right away. And that is something that is important. And especially for engineers who tend to have the solution in mind super fast. So I often say, let's wait, let's stick a bit longer in the problem space. And I don't know, maybe you made the same experience when working with your clients, that you have to first understand the problem very well before you come up with a solution.
Oh, yes. And it's often so that they say they have already the solution. They know how they want to do it. And then you say, okay, what's the target group of your dashboard? And they say, target group? Yeah, we already designed the dashboard. And I say, yeah, but for whom is this dashboard really? And then you start talking about and going the step behind and say, okay, now we do some design thinking, user stories, etc.
Yeah, there is a quote I used for it was I don't know, one presentation a couple of years ago that I used in that context. The bait must be tasteful for the fish and not the fisherman. That is something that might help in this conversation.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I take that next time. It's really good. So, do you think you already could change the way of working at SAP with your different thinking?
Yeah. So that is like, when I talk about product design, that is something I'm still evangelizing. And we in the design community, we are working hard to explain what it really means, and that can really help the company to grow even further. When it comes to service design thinking, there we are very lucky, because Hasso Plattner was one of the founders of the Innovation Center in Potsdam, sponsors of D-School in Stanford. So that is something that is pretty known at SAP. And we have the app houses where customers are also coming to do design services, design thinking workshops. So that is, I would say, a plus in the SAP ecosystem. And that is something we can build upon.
Okay, so we heard so many things, how SAP is organized, what are the disciplines you're referring and working with. And yeah, this is probably the idea of also integrating this design part as part of the DNA of SAP as well. But let's break it down a little bit more practical. And as you are also responsible for SAC, what can users expect in 2021? What are new features or innovation, or you will break it down to only one feature as you mentioned it, or what are the expectations you can present here?
Yeah, maybe I start with SAC and then I zoom a bit further out. So with SAC, there is one important project that I care about very much in the pipeline, and it will be launched in March to public, and we call it SAC View Time Experience. So it will be easier to navigate between many pages. If you are a dashboard viewer, a consumer, we have cleaned up the toolbars and some functions, icons there. We introduced quick actions. We simplified also the publishing workflow. That is especially for planning users, very interesting. And we de-emphasized UI controls in full screen mode to give more screen space real estate for the content, in the spirit of Tufte's data to ink ratio.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And why did we do it now and not earlier? Because initially with SAC, we focused on the story building persona, on that person who connects to data sources or models data, builds the dashboard, wrangles data, and then puts it all together. And with this release, we really focused on the consumer persona, on the one person who is probably not so much keen about analytics, not a data scientist or an expert, but just someone who needs to consume a dashboard.
Okay, that's, I think, also the person who's most engaging with those dashboards. But maybe also with a view on the developer side, I often hear these things about the back button, or that you're not able to adapt the colors of the deviation bars. There's all these standardized green and red. Or also I heard about the scaling issues if you integrate icons for navigation or stuff, and then you switch to the mobile phone or the mobile view, then they're just not sized properly. Any in the bundle you mentioned, is that covered as well, or?
The famous back button feature, that is something I need to comment on, because it sounds so easy. Just do a back button. But if you look at a software stack and how the software stack evolved over time, and we said it before, time to market is very important. Maybe I give a little side story around that. Imagine, and that is something that we thought about, and it was difficult for me also to digest and to take in as a designer. But imagine you would your customer. So imagine there are no vehicles, no cars in the market, and your customer wants to get from A to B. then studies say, or is interesting insights about that whoever builds the first skateboard will be successful in the market. People will not wait for 5 years till someone comes up with a car. And if you do that, you build a skateboard, you are in the market, everybody knows you. They say, great, can we work with you? Now we want to have a bike. We want to evolve that skateboard. And now it gets a bit ugly from a design perspective because you have a skateboard in the market and then you then you have a bigger wheel on it and you are changing it while it's on the market. And the company who waited 5 years and came with the car, even if they got it right, everybody in the market would say, who are you? What is that? We work with the guys with the ugly skateboards who evolved over time. And as I said, that is a bit difficult for me. And that is a bit the problem of the back button. It's not that easy to do it because it has to be planned with other features, working on performance on our end, where we're trying to make that better. And it seems very easy, but unfortunately not that easy to work on that. And yeah.
So if I next time got the question concerning the back button, I will remember this quote comparing SAC with a skateboard. Okay.
I like that also. I believe it was Anna in that podcast where she said, and I took that as a compliment. So, SAC, it was not where we wanted to be, but we see these guys are working hard and it gets better every release. And I take that as a compliment.
Yeah. It's definitely a compliment from her. I mean, if we discuss, okay, what's your favorite tool? Like she will always vote for SAC. So there's more than that. It's definitely a compliment, and she really likes to work with SAC, I think. And I just asked her this morning, okay, what are the few things you're struggling with? Maybe I can challenge Nico a bit, and that was what she just said. So
yeah, but she's not wrong. Let me say it like that.
Yeah. And if you have the overall view, are there something the back button, we just discussed that, but something you're very proud of when you look at SAC or the product, or is there anything you really feel sorry for? Maybe just some insights into that from your view.
Yeah, maybe we talked about that before. I am proud of that quote by Rolf Hiechert and that the team worked on IBCS. That is something I think it's important. Because it is, as you know, it's not customer not crying for IBCS, but if they see it, they understand it, and they see that has value, basically. So that is everything we did in that area about simplifying templates in a way that it's easier to build a beautiful dashboard. And if I look at about my learning or lessons learned for myself, and that goes also hand in hand with the next release. So when we started working on that, we focused too much on the builder persona, and did not look really at the full scale, like really, really high level view. But in a big company, you usually have admins, you have data modelers, you have story builders somehow, and you have the consumers. Mm-hmm. And I worked in other projects in the past where we worked more with design thinking techniques and personas. And that is something, lessons learned for me in the whole SAC project for 5 years. We should have worked more with personas in the early years, especially, probably. That would have been better.
Really good point.
Quite honest also. Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, really good.
I think we need to continue. And question number 4, right?
Question number 4. So we talked a lot about, or you already talked about what you have, your way coming to SAP. So you come from a print media designer, studied audiovisual media, did internships, worked even for the German government, I read. Long way to come to SAP. Then you started SAP from user experience manager, now VP design HANA. What are your advices for young designers? How could their career look like?
So I would say that especially if you're applying to become an in-house designer, there's like only 2 very, very high level advice I would give these people. So number 1 is understand what the company is driving, understand the company's strategy and what the company is after. If you don't understand that, you will get lost in the world of design and you will, design something beautiful that is not connected to the strategy. And number 2, keep your roots as a designer. If you have a rich background in design, be it study or however you got to in the field to design, you understand what it means to design something that is beautiful and usable. And that is the reason why they hired you in the first place. and you have to stick to that ethos as a designer, and you should never let go of it, and you should pick your battles and fight your battles as well. And if you accomplish to do both, like stay true to yourself, stay a bit edgy, and understand what the company tries to achieve, then you will be a happy in-house designer.
Then you will end up at head of design at SAP, or
eventually. Yeah, but that is something that that I would say is important. Like you have to, we have such diverse backgrounds usually, and also something that I care about a lot when we look at design thinking, and you look at that Venn diagram, viability, feasibility, desirability, and you map it with people, and you get right away to, it's business people, technology people, and designers. Understood. But especially for designers, there are many touch points with other fields like psychology, journalism, sociology. And I think that is always very interesting and helpful, that you always connect to a market or an outside-in perspective. Like I give you an example, like when I read not long ago about Niklas Luhmann's system theory, that every system has a binary logic, and that really got stuck with me. So the binary function of science is truth. The binary function of economy is payment. And we did it in a design workshop. We talked about what is the binary function of design. That was a fun exercise. But maybe a question to you: what is the binary function of a dashboard?
We are asking the question. Yeah, the decision making probably, or what would you say?
Decision making, interesting. I was also thinking if I asked a question, what I would answer. And maybe is it understanding, conviction, transparency, decision making? Yeah, all good.
Decision making would be my, I think.
Transparent decision making.
we were discussing this last time, the key of the best dashboard, or what's the key factor, and we said that people can take decision quite quickly. So I think that's what's in my mind when I think about dashboards, is that you can decide, and that makes your design standard so important, because it's the simplicity we're talking about. It's easy to see what kind of decision do I have to take. You still have the possibility to thread through and analyze, but you see the important things guided on the first moment. So I think for me it's decision making.
You are in good company, I want to say. That was a strategy workshop we had not long ago about in the HANA and Analytics leadership team, when we talked about the HANA Analytics journey and our flagship products, how we want to combine them. And then it was, we want to foster confident decisions and create data to value and work on the data to value stream end to end. But foster confident decisions was one of the claims we had back then.
Yeah, somehow adding a value to the data of a customer. That's it, basically. Otherwise, you don't need a dashboard if there's no added value or the thing you're generating out of that. I mean, this was also our fifth question, or just we're diving into the fifth question from you as your perspective as a vendor who's actually providing the shovels somehow for digging for gold. So what's your perspective on what makes the best possible dashboard in SAP? How would that look like?
Yeah, the perfect dashboard. So it's a bit like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So the supercomputer that has the answer of all the questions. Or when we look at Harry Potter, the Pensieve. I got stuck with that when I was working on my diploma thesis about interactive documentary film. But the Pensieve is a magical device that Harry Potter uses then to explore the thoughts of other people. And I looked at it from a documentary film perspective. It is like you can look at it from all angles. Like you met somebody yesterday, and I use it, and I'm in your brain and in your thoughts, and I can look at it from all the angles. So the perfect dashboard would carry all possible answers.
Okay, that's more or less artificial answer. I would say it's not really down to earth designer perspective, but we like to put a bit more precise on that, or is it really that what you believe? Yeah.
So like if we all agree that is something we cannot accomplish, then we have to work on something that gets close. So, and now we are back in the process also. So you have to ask the right questions. Viktoria said it before. What is your audience? What is the use case basically? Why do we design the dashboard for? And really, really high level, we were thinking about 4 categories, like either you have a monitoring dashboard, then it has no purpose in terms of messaging, but it's also not true. Like on my bike computer, I have a monitor dashboard and that shows me like only 3 KPIs when I go up the hill. One is called VAM, which is called vertical acceleration. One is called is the speed. I know how fast I could go. And one is the acceleration. Then I know how steep it is. So even that has a message for me. It's a monitoring case. It's always the same, but it has a message. So if I want to get faster up the hill, I should better be hurry because I know it's not fast enough when I look at one of the KPIs. But a monitoring case, then another case would be exploration. Like when I just want to drill the data, I don't know what I'm searching for. Basically, there is a connection to Peter Moore was writing an interesting book about search patterns. And he called it pogo sticking. If you don't know what you're searching, you type in any word, you get a document, read the document, and you get new terms in the document. And it's a bit like with exploring data. Like you drill down in the data, you find data points, and then you drill down somewhere else. So exploration case is the second. The third one is reporting. So really, you have a message you want to convey, and that is something you should talk about to Jürgen Feist when he is there. And last but not least, it is about also forecasting and planning in a way. So because planning and forecasting and predictive, they are also go hand in hand with each other. It is where you want to see in which direction does it go in the future, or then I'm collecting data from, I don't know, from sales manager, please enter your data here. So all these dashboards that work, that try to help you to predict the future.
But would you say one dashboard should do all these things, or would you say a tool should be the capability to give the possibility to do all these kind of things?
I gave the answer at the very beginning when I said I would love to focus on one feature, and if you would ask me for the perfect device, I would name the iPhone probably, because it is a rocket solid device, but to combining hardware and software. It focuses on accessibility and inclusion, and it is also a production studio in your pocket. And if I can do TV production in my pocket, it's awesome. And if I get back to the dashboard, so with SAC and with all our offerings, we try to provide a platform. We hope that we can give more guidance, and we depend on people like you who help us also with workshops and customers to steer them, to help them to get to the right questions they want to answer. And yeah, I would say you have to understand the purpose of the dashboard, and then you focus on that purpose. Maybe you can twist it a bit. It's a reporting focus, but I want to also drill in here and there. But based on my experience, it is mostly one of the 4 categories, and then it gets some specialities left and right you can add or you need to adhere to make it more useful.
4 categories I always like, because our thoughts are also having at least 4 types of dashboards, and they're just to differentiate. One is more for the guided dashboarding experience, and the other is more for the free visual analytics thing. So these are separation, and then we broke it down in those 4 dashboarding types. So that's really, really interesting. Yeah, I think we are almost at the end of our lovely podcast. First and foremost, I want to say thank you. I'm really delighted to meet you, and that we are able to record this session. It was a lot of fun. So fantastic.
Same here.
As we always, it's for us now to say bye-bye, and to say, in case any other would like to share their experience within this podcast or have questions for us, just simply connect on LinkedIn or give us a recommendation concerning other possible guests. And now, it's always time for Nico, for the guest to have the last words. So
before he had his last words, just let me, from my side, say thank you, and I'm really looking forward for the release in March. And I will have a look on SAC and the development. So
thank you so much for having me. And as I already said before, what I saw, and I saw that podcast that you did, that Dashboard Heroes, what Anna and Andreas talked about, the workshop that you were doing, that is something that I can only echo. We see it also with our customers. These design thinking workshops are very, very important for our customers as well, that people first of all ask the right questions. And I guess you work with paper prototypes, that you help the people, maybe in the LOBs that are not experts in the area of dashboard design, bringing all the peoples together and help the customers that they can build a perfect dashboard or the best dashboard possible for their audiences. So that's a great initiative. And as I said before, I really would love to see Anna's super ugly dashboard that was super hard to build for her. That is a very, very interesting exercise.
We will definitely share that with you. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to BI or Die, a podcast by Reporting Impulse. If you enjoy our content, please press the like button and subscribe to our podcast so you do not miss another episode. See you next time.